This program is part of the Cosmic Potato Podcast Network. For more shows like this, visit our website at cosmicpotatonetwork.com.
Watching television, watching television. Watching television, watching television. I need all the image, I need all the sound. I know the info right into my mind.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Trial by Pilot. This is the show where we judge an entire series of television and the work of hundreds on one episode. I'm Bill Lynch.
I'm Elizabeth Lynch.
I'm Janice McCrosty.
Hey, Janice.
Hi, Janice.
Hey, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to the show.
I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Long-time listener, go ahead, praise the show.
Long-time listener, first-time podder.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's just... I'll go.
Is that what we're called now?
No.
Potters?
Potters. No. Podcasters?
Yeah, podcaster.
Podcaster.
It's been a while since we've had a guest on, right?
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to get some fresh takes.
Fresh
Yes.
blood.
Fresh
Yeah.
takes.
Here I am.
So today we are talking about a show on Netflix called Ragnarok. And I don't remember...
Janice is so excited.
So, full disclosure right away. Janice has watched this entire series.
I have, yeah.
She knows the rules of the podcast, but we invited her after she already finished.
I appreciate
So
that.
I will allow it. But we did want to invite you for this one because I knew that you had watched the pilot. I think you had commented on one of the Trial by Pilot posts, right?
I think I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you guys put it up as something you may be watching or something, and I was like, please do.
Yeah.
So Janice will not spoil anything. Oh, that's another rule. I told Janice there's no rules, just don't touch anything. Don't touch the mics. But second rule is don't spoil anything past the pilot.
You forgot I'm like a toddler, though. The minute you tell me don't do it,
She
so
was
Janice-
pawing at the microphone as soon as I said that.
like a cat.
Janice is actually like a pretty loyal listener of this podcast
Oh, yeah.
and will like text me occasionally. But has been like, been like, I want to be on it. Like, what can we do? And then finally, like, this came up and it was like, this is it. This is perfect.
Thank you guys so much because I'm so excited.
And Janice brought beer over, so
Yeah.
she probably will be back.
Yeah.
You know,
All you have to do is bring sour beer, and
Yeah.
you have found a place in my heart.
sweet.
So, I don't think almost every show we do is like based on a comic book. It's based off of this other show. This is like an original series, as far as I could tell, from my very little research.
See, this is where we're going to get into trouble because I don't want to give too much away, but because you don't find out the basis of everything in the very first episode.
Oh, I just mean like the show itself.
No,
'cause it,
yeah,
like,
it's
based on a
original.
co-
It's
yeah,
an original. Yeah, I did a little bit of homework, and it's a original.
Yeah. So it is a Norwegian series. It's based in the fictional town of Edda, Norway, which doesn't exist. It's actually like...
I tried to find it because I'm going to Norway.
Oh, yes. So I said we were going to discuss this. There's a show called SKAM that Janice watches.
Yeah.
You wanna-
I don't watch it. It's done.
it's done.
Finished. But it's got...
finished? I
It's
thought it was
done.
Norwegian.
No, it's finished.
Just kidding.
Duh. It was...
Thank you.
But you made such a mini joke, except it got so huge internationally that there are now 7 remakes in 7 different countries
my
of this
gosh.
show.
Where did you watch it?
Daily Motion and YouTube.
Hey.
Yeah. So
However you can get it done.
So the reason why SKAM is such an awesome show, it's done now, Sad Day USA, but the reason it's such a cool show is because the creator went around Norway and interviewed all young people, like teenagers, to find out what were the important topics that they wanted to hear about. Then she created 4 seasons, and each season is from the perspective of a different character in a friend group, but the show happens in real time. So like, if this podcasting session were integral to the plot,
We call it a Potter session.
Potter session, it would drop on the website at 8:18 p.m. And so then at the end of the week, the whole episode would get posted.
Interesting.
And so it got so huge internationally that there's now a SKAM Austin. It's on Facebook Watch.
Oh my God.
Renew SKAM Austin.
Are you watching all of these?
Except for SKAM España, because it's kind of really heavy right now and it makes me sad. So I'm taking a step back.
I was wondering what you were talking about when you were like, oh, well, this episode dropped, or like...
Scam France a clip dropped tonight in class. Sorry, professors. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. But that's what got me into Norwegian culture and the television and stuff like that. So when 3 of the actors on Ragnarok are from SKAM.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any that we see in the pilot?
Oh, all of them.
Okay.
David Staxon plays Magna. He's from
Okay.
SKAM. Herman Tomaris, I'm so mispronouncing that wrong. I am not Norwegian, is Fjord. And Saxa is played by Teresa Frosted Eggsbro.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
pronouncing any of those names right because
Yeah,
I am.
I know the first one is the main
Yeah.
character.
Fjord and Saxa are the brother and sisters.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Got it. All right, I guess we should get into this plot since
Yeah.
now we're talking
Thank
about...
you for humoring me.
No. I was interested in hearing that. Because I love and am obsessed with Sweden. Mostly because like all my favorite musicians are from Sweden. And a podcast I listened to was
Like
based
ABBA?
in Scandinavia. Yeah, ABBA. I really just meant ABBA.
If you change your mind.
Oh gosh. Now we're going to get sued. Thanks.
I'm sorry. I love ABBA so much.
Me too. You're not alone.
All right. Anyway, before we get even further
Don't
sidetracked.
sue ABBA.
So, I don't think ABBA's ever going to fucking find this podcast. So, the pilot to Ragnarok starts with the definition of the word Ragnarok in Old Norse, which is basically, it's the end of the world. It's the gods and the giants fighting, and it brings this chaos, and the world ends. We find out it's in Edda, Norway, and we're introduced to Magna and Loritz, his brother. They're in a car with their mom. They're driving back to their hometown after many years. And as they're driving through, like the brother's like has a bunch of snide comments. He's kind of like the angsty teen. Magna is like very awkward, and he like looks the part. Like he just looks like an awkward, big lumbering teen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With like that short like bowl cut.
Yeah.
Someone put a bowl on his head to cut his hair. So they're driving through their hometown, and the mom has to stop because there's an old man in a motorized wheelchair that's like stuck in the street. And so Magna gets out to help him, and the old man has like a black eye patch on one eye, and he asks Magna, "Do you know what a strange town this is?" And an old woman comes out to like get her husband, I think it was implied. She like touches Magna on the forehead to like thank him, and you see like lightning like crackling in his eyes a little bit.
So, like...
And whispers. There's like whispers.
Yeah.
In Old Norse. Well, wait,
Yeah.
though, that's the important question I wanted to ask you guys.
Okay.
Are you subtitle people or dubbing people?
Oh, subtitle.
Subtitle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
please don't insult me.
Okay. Well, I got into it on one of my SKAM Facebook pages because I made a comment about that, and somebody called me out on my ableism, which is fair. They were like, some people can't read subtitles; they have to listen.
Oh no.
I was like,
okay, yeah.
And I was
fine.
like, okay, but so that was gonna be my question. But okay, because it's Old Norse that the whispering is, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Oh,
what your
okay.
thing said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Elizabeth, I interrupted you. That was really rude.
I don't even remember what I was going to say,
That's
to be
why-
honest, Janice.
That's why it was so rude.
You were probably going to say something about the lightning crackling in the eyes.
Oh, so, well, I was going to say, it was almost like, I interpreted it as almost like she put a spell on him, like he is now like this because of this woman.
I don't think so. The way I interpreted it, like as
I love how Janice is just like, she's just like sitting up so straight.
It's so hard because like some parts are, I already kind of knew who when Magna was, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So I don't want to give anything away, so I'm kind of biting my tongue, but I think you're both right.
Okay. I mean,
Okay.
clearly these two old people are something. They're not just like an old couple in this village.
Yeah.
They're like old elders from the gods, or like they have some like weird supernatural
Yeah.
connection
Yeah.
at least. So he gets back in the car, and as he's like trying to roll up this window and like breaks the what's it called?
You don't
the
even remember?
turning.
That's how long it's
The
been?
crank.
Yeah, the
crank.
the window crank.
The roll up the window, which we don't have to say anymore.
That was we'll talk about this a little bit later, but like a lot of these shows from Europe are like so like 80s 90s, because that's just like Europe. They're like kind of behind, quote unquote, technologically, and like, so I haven't seen a car like that. I forgot what it was
Yeah.
called.
But also, it really was an 80s, 90s because that's also how they still dress over it. Like, not still, like, those fashions have come back around.
Well, yeah, that's
So
true.
that's
That's
how
true, too,
everybody-
yeah.
So I think that car was more of an indication of the financial situation of
Yeah,
the
that's
family
what I was
than
gonna
it was
say.
of
Oh, yeah.
anything else. But yeah,
Just the fact that they had a rolly-uppy thingy.
Yeah.
A rolly-uppy thingy.
Rolly-uppy thingy.
yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say, aren't like really nice cars made in Europe? I wouldn't say that they're like behind technologically.
That was not the right phrasing. of it.
Stop insulting Europe. Getting a bunch of emails in.
I don't think we have any European listeners, so.
You never know.
We have Australian listeners.
Yeah,
Shout
so
out
we
to
might.
Simon.
Hey, Simon.
Hi.
So he says it's going to rain, and both his brother and mom are like, okay, sure, the forecast said it was going to be beautiful all day. And sure enough, like a second later, it's like torrential downpours start coming down in town. Then Magna and his brother are introduced to their new class at school, and they're being taught a lesson on Norse mythology. And you guessed it, they're being taught about Ragnarok. And the teacher goes on to say that Edda was the last town in Norway to give up the old Norse religions for Christianity.
Can we just talk about how hot that teacher is for a hot second? Like, if he was my
pretty
teacher,
cute.
I'd be like, hey, teacher.
He was pretty hot.
Tell me more about the Norse gods.
Yeah, I'll come over. Teach me things.
Steady group.
Sorry.
So Magna
I'll
takes...
Ragnarok with you.
Oh, God.
Oh, that was good.
I apologize, listeners. So Magna goes and takes an open seat next to like the loner girl. You can just like tell right away from like her look. She has like short bluish tinged hair. And we find out like later she's really into recycling and she's like anti the industry in the town. And has her own suspicions about like what's going on.
Isolde.
What's her name?
Isolde.
Isolde. And then Izzy, I think. They called her like ISI a couple times.
Issa.
Isa.
Issa.
Isa. So he gets Issa and Gree, another girl in class, as partners in a different class, not this one. Oh, actually,
Can we talk really quick about the awesome stereotypical teenage cafeteria scene?
yes, I was just going to say, I missed that part.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Just how it was literally like right out of like Mean Girls.
Yes.
Like he walks in, everybody stops and looks at him because he's the new guy.
Yeah.
And then he goes to sit by Isolde and she literally does those are the cool kids. These are the uncool kids.
Yeah.
Like thing
Yeah.
out. I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah, she kind of tells him, what's the really popular kid's name?
Saxa and Fior.
Yeah, the brother and the sister, and then their mom is also the principal of the school and an English teacher there.
And Magna's just like, she's pretty.
So he and these two girls are partners in another class, and they have to write a paper. And so he pulls out this pamphlet he found on the ground outside saying like, oh, how pristine Edda is. It's such a natural wonder. So he's like, why don't we write about this? Why don't we write about the town and the industry? And so they kind of like agree. It's a good idea. Gree says, why don't you write the first paragraph and we'll see where we can go from there. After school, Magna and his mother have a meeting with the principal. And the mom is saying like, listen, he's had trouble in school before. He's had like a couple minor violent outbursts. If he thinks things aren't going fairly. And then we find out that his dad passed away when he was 6 years old. And the principal's like, oh, I remember, because they were originally from this town. And then we get like some dramatic music as Magna like looks at the window and he's like, I think we should shut the window.
I thought a bird was going to fly in
Yeah.
that room.
I was
and
like,
just
what's gonna come into this window?
Yeah. Or like kill itself on the glass.
Yeah.
I was like, please don't.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then eventually the window just like slams shut really fast and cracks. And the mom says something, but I forget what she says.
She says something
Oh, she
like,
said,
oh, that was scary.
Yeah, she goes, oh, that really scared me.
Yeah.
But like she's such a like,
I love the mom.
nothing seems to get her down at
Yeah.
all. Like she's just like constantly like, at least in this pilot, I'm looking at Janice because I'm like, well, Janice really knows what she's like all the time. But like, you know, she's just always in a good mood, trying to stay upbeat for her kids all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
she must be exhausted.
No, right?
We also meet Vidar.
Yeah, I think Vidar. Yeah.
So the last name of this like rich family, and the popular kid says Jotul.
Judel, I
Judel?
believe is how it's pronounced.
Jotul. So he's like the patriarch, and he pulls up to this gas station where Magna and his mom are getting gas, as one would do.
Petrol.
I was gonna say, I think it would be petrol.
Oh my gosh. So, he says hello because he and the mom knew each other back in the day. And he has this giant dog that keeps barking. And it's got these
it's the creepiest looking animal that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
What kind of dog is it even supposed to be?
I don't know.
giant.
Just a giant?
Just a giant. Giant? I know that.
A big creeper?
Yeah, and I don't know if this was like an effect or if this dog really just looks like that, but it had like giant cloudy eyes and it was like deep barking that they were like doing in like slow
He
motion.
looked like undead.
And it was like...
Kind of, yeah.
And it was... I don't know if you guys... It was like at Magna. Did you notice that? Like it was like barking.
Well, I was
when
going to say,
saw
it was
him.
clearly like
Yes.
affecting Magna, and like
Yeah.
Magna was staring at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As like the mom and the dad are kind of just talking. Mm-hmm. So
Well, first
something
I
was going
didn't
on.
even understand why the dog looked like that. Because like Magna was really the only one noticing it. And I was like, does this dog just look like this to Magna? Because no one else seemed fazed by the fact that this is like truly an ugly dog. Like it just is so unsettling to see a dog like that.
Yeah, it was creepy.
Like all like mangy and like dirty. Yeah.
Yeah, for such a rich family, take your dog to the groomer already.
Yeah.
Why are you guys not like unfazed by this?
So then we go to their household, the rich family, and the brother and sister are in the bathroom together, and he's asking her if he should look younger than he does. And she's like, oh, you're supposed to look 19. So like already we're finding out that there's some weird supernatural thing going on with them.
They ain't human, yo.
Yeah.
That was
And-
really
Yeah, I was like,
embarrassing.
are they?
I'm actually going to clip that so we can use it on all of our shows from now on.
It was
Anytime we do like a fantasy show and there's like an elephant introduced, I'm just going to clip you in.
they ain't human,
yo.
yo.
Oh gosh, good.
I also like immediately started questioning like just even the way they were all seemed like co-workers as opposed to a family.
Yes.
There's like they're all like hanging out in the bathroom of all places.
Oh, you
and they're-
peed in front of them,
and then the
right?
dad comes in and pees, and like she doesn't even like look shot. It was just
It was a
weird. I'm
little-
like, that's weird if you just like watch your dad pee.
There's like shades of the Cullens.
yes,
Like-
yes.
No, it was probably when the dad came in to pee that I was like, oh wait, oh hell no,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
something real weird going on
Yeah.
here.
So Magna asks his brother to look over his paper that he started to write, and he agrees to help him out. And so he gives it to Magna, who has Gree take a look at it, and she reads it out loud, and it's like very clear that the brother was just being a prick and didn't help him. He like wrote something completely contradictory to what he had been asked
Yeah,
to do.
what's with this brother? Like sometimes he's like so nice to him, and then other times he's just a real big jerk. And I feel bad because I feel like she's like trying to embarrass him or something. I mean,
Trying to fit in with the cool kids.
I definitely wrote, oh Loritz a lot.
So Magna and Issa run to the store where that old couple is that we talked about before. And when he walks in, the old guy goes, "It's good you've come." And then the old woman says, "You may be needed, Magna." So he's like, what the fuck's going on? And the girl's like, oh, don't pay attention to them because they're
They're
like,
the creepy old people
Yeah.
in town. The old hag, I think, is what she came up as.
oh really?
I think in the
in
subtitles,
the subtitles.
or something.
Some of the subtitles were very strange. Like whenever they played music, it would be like sentimental music.
Yes.
yeah.
Exciting music.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, there was a great opening song to this. What was that song? There's like a poppy.
Oh, there was some good music.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember.
The soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
We can talk about this later too. I really liked the soundtrack to this pilot. It was like kind of all over the place, but it didn't bother me. Whereas like in other shows it does, like where it's like, this like dark tone music as like the clouds are like coming over, and then there's like a pop song, but like it kind of worked in this one.
That's one thing I've noticed with, and I haven't watched a plethora of Norwegian television, but all of it has really good music. Like they do a really good job of choosing. Like I've been introduced to so many artists that I would never have even, and songs that I would have never even listened to
really?
through Norwegian television.
Interesting. Interesting.
How much Norwegian television do you watch?
All of it. They literally.
Not a whole lot. There's actually a great Christmas show called Home for Christmas. It's about, I think it's like 8 episodes long, and it's really good. It was like, it really spoke to my single soul. And then SKAM, and then this one.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm happy to watch more if anybody has any
Unfortunately,
suggestions.
those are the only shows that Norway makes, so you've watched them all.
Yeah, like. All right. Well, I'm getting sidetracked, but I'm just like curious. We can go back to that later.
Issa invites Magna over for dinner that night as friends.
He
of course.
was so excited.
Yeah, he was.
His little
Yeah.
face. I wrote his
He's like,
little
I come to
face
your
on
house.
that.
His little face.
But yeah, he like is hesitating at first, and she's like, "Just as friends, dude. Like, I'm not coming on to you." And it's later revealed that she has a crush on the rich
Saxa.
sister, Saxa.
Which, who doesn't?
Right. She's like perfect.
Ugh.
You know?
At dinner, we find out that her father is one of the teachers at school that was teaching about Ragnarok.
The hot teacher.
The hot teacher.
I just wanted to sing again, but I'm not allowed to.
I got it bad. Got it bad.
Bag.
So they're all talking at the dinner table, the three of them, and she's talking about going up to the mountains and invites Magna with her. And she has an environmental YouTube channel where she's kind of like investigating what's going on with the town and climate change and
And
things
the
like
factory.
that. And the factory in
The
town.
Joodle factory in town.
She also is a big paraglider and paraglides down from the mountain.
No,
all the time.
thank you.
Yeah, is that what people do in fucking Scandinavia?
I guess I'll find out.
They just climb up a mountain and then jump off.
I will not be jumping off the mountain I'm climbing up.
Yeah, that's terrifying. She's like, oh, we can go paragliding if you're allowed. And I was thinking like,
Well, first of all, he probably weighs like at least 210.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah. But like, what parent would let, I'm sorry. I was like thinking of it through the lens of a mother, like, no, he's not allowed. He's not allowed to do that.
One thing I've noticed is there's not a whole lot of like in the shows that I've watched, there's not a whole lot of like teenagers actually asking their parents for permission in Norway. Like, I'm sure they do. If you guys have any Norwegian listeners, I'm sure. But in SKAM, like the absence of the parents is kind of a joke throughout and like
really?
through the fandom.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
and also if that's where you live and that's something you do all the time.
Right.
Right. It's still clearly very dangerous.
Yeah.
Well,
We also find out at some point in this scene that her mom died of cancer. I don't remember if they said how long ago, but we find that out at some point. Back at school, all the kids are planning to go to a party, and they're like, "Oh, should we go up to the mountains?" But then rich guy, what's his name? Fuck.
Fior.
Is like
Richie
Richie Rich. He looks like an evil Richie Rich, basically, like an 80s.
His hair is
evil-
just always so perfect,
Yeah.
and his outfits are always so outrageous.
He's like, "Oh no, our parents are away. Let's just go to our house instead." So everyone agrees to that because he's like the rich, popular kid. But Issa says she's still going up to the mountain and she's going to bring Magna, even though this family owns it. They can't stop them from going up there because Norway has all these freedom to roam laws. So later on, Magna is helping his mom with something. They're like, she's doing something with a hammer, and he grabs the hammer and sees that there's a rune etched into the bottom of it. And then like the music intensifies as he's like holding this hammer, like all dramatic, like. But
He gets all like in the zone.
Yeah. And then he and Issa are climbing up this mountain, and they're hiking along a trail, and they pass by this warning sign over a bridge. And then Magna gets a message from his brother that their mom is in trouble. So he's like, "Listen, sorry, I need to turn back. I need to go back and see if my mom's okay." And Issa's like, "That's fine. I'm gonna keep going on for a bit." And as she does, she eventually finds a cave beneath one of the glaciers, and it leads to a door that has
Joodle.
Joodle Industries with like a big keep out sign on it. And so she snaps a couple photos of it. We don't see in the pilot if she ever went inside or if it was locked. I assume it was locked. And then we see Vidar driving up the mountain in his like whatever Escalade or Audi.
I don't think they do Escalades over there.
I think it was an
like
Audi.
an Audi or one of those crazy.
Where's Escalade from?
It's a Cadillac. And is that made by
Cadillac Escalade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure people do them over there, but they're more for sleek. They're not for huge ass.
Yeah, I think it was an Audi. This is all very pertinent to the plot. So he's driving up the mountain and he pulls over and he takes all of his clothes off. And then his eyes,
This fucking scene.
and I mean all of his clothes, he gets completely butt naked. And then his eyes turn yellow. And he squats down and leaps like a superhero off of this overhanging rock into a field with a bunch of reindeer in it. Lands on one of the reindeer, snaps its neck, holds it up, rips out his heart, goes out to the ledge of the mountain and eats the heart while letting out this like monstrous roar. So
Delish.
pretty typical scene on any teen drama show.
I mean, I don't know what kind of teen drama you're watching, but apparently Riverdale really gets into it. I don't know.
I just wonder, like, is it supposed to be a secret who these people really are?
Yes.
Like, that seems like kind of like not secret to do that.
Well, they own the mountain. And if you remember, Saxa tried to keep her off the mountain, and the old hag said to them something like, it's dangerous during the, what was it? It was what's it called? Whatever. It was the new year. Oh, beware the spring equinox. It's dangerous on the mountain. So the old hag knew that that's when I think these, whatever they are,
Okay. Do that.
do their reindeer eating.
Do the reindeer eating. It's when they feast.
So Magna gets home and finds out that his mom is actually fine and his brother was just being a prick again.
What?
Yeah. And so he like runs back outside, runs down onto the street, and as he gets into like the main street in town, he sees Issa paragliding down from the mountain. And so he watches as she's paragliding down and she rams right into a telephone wire.
Yeah.
And it gets electrocuted, or somehow the paraglide, the
Power sail?
whatever, the
thing.
the thingy
The apparatus.
gets tangled up, and she hits the wire and then falls into the rocks below. And so he like runs over in a panic, just as Vidar pulls up. Elizabeth's spilling beer on herself.
She was so shocked by that information. She dropped her beer.
Also, guys, I did not spill it.
Wait, I missed that scene. Just as Vidar is pulling up, and so he like rushes down, calls 911 or whatever the Norwegian equivalent of 911 is, and
Janice is going to find out.
I don't actually know that.
You need to know when you're traveling there.
Yeah.
It's true.
as Magna like cradles her and is clearly very upset. And I don't think we like see it finalized, but Elizabeth and I are both assuming that she's dead.
Yeah.
I didn't make a face. Went to 4 years of acting school. I didn't make a face.
So he's walking home now, and it's pouring rain again, just downpour. And he gets to his house outside, and he picks up the hammer that he had before, and he just has this like visceral scream as he throws the hammer, and it just like fucking, lightning bolt into the fucking
Later
sky,
days into
like
the
lasers, as like the lightning flashes all around him. And that was the pilot to Ragnarok.
I was just looking at my notes, and I think one of my favorite things I wrote is, meanwhile, hot dad in town gets naked and eats a sheep.
Eats a sheep.
I think I just laughed way too loud. I mean, it was, first of all, it was a reindeer.
It was a reindeer. It wasn't a sheep. I don't know why I wrote sheep.
Eats a sheep.
I was really tired when we were watching
And he
this.
just ate a heart.
My final note is, I've only had Magna for approximately 45 minutes, but if anything happens to him, I'll kill everyone in this room and then myself.
Oh my god.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Shout out.
Oh yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah. I obviously know Janice liked the show, and I know how I feel, so I'm curious about Elizabeth's thoughts on the pilot to Ragnarok.
I don't know, but I feel like I'm intrigued enough to find out a little bit more.
Okay.
But I didn't necessarily love this pilot.
Okay.
But I'll give it the benefit of the doubt because I feel like there has to be a lot of exposition, I guess, in a show like this. So I felt like that's what a lot of this episode was, and it sometimes felt a little awkward to me.
Yeah.
So, but I'm willing to be like, okay, it's not gonna be like that every episode. We'll probably get more into the story.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was like my initial thought.
Yeah, I agree with some of that. I'm also intrigued. I think it was an intriguing pilot, but also it felt kind of rushed at points. Like this was the pilot show, and like you immediately find out that Magna has some kind of power. Like almost the first scene, you immediately find out that the rich family is some kind of like giants or monsters or some shit. Like it all happened so fast. You're introduced to this girl, Magna's, quick best friend. We get like backstory on her. We're introduced to her dad. We find out her mom dies. We find out she has feelings for this other girl, and then she dies. Like it just it felt
a lot of big things happened.
Yeah.
In this it wasn't just like one of those things. Like the hammer throwing would have been one big thing, right? And like
right.
like finding out about the Joodles like is another big thing. But like a lot of big things happened.
I think because it's only 6 episodes, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times with television shows from Europe, they only do like those 6 or 8 episodes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I agree. I think this could have been an 8 episoder. I think they could have gone that extra.
But they almost like have to like go right into it.
Yeah.
Because they don't have as much time.
They don't have as much time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I didn't know it was only 6 episodes until I was researching it after the fact. And then I saw like, they didn't get a big budget for this show. They were only given 6 episodes. So like, okay, fine. You have to kind of get the ball rolling so you can get your story in 6 episodes and hopefully get a second season or whatever.
Yeah.
So you probably have feelings on this, Janice. Mm-hmm. It's strange going from watching American television to watching something European that just feels different. Like just something culturally, like I don't know if it's like the writing or the acting or just something about it. It just feels strange to like hop into it. Going from, because like we watched Dark last year, which is a German language show on Netflix.
Oh, I've heard that's really good.
I fucking love that show so much. I recommend it to everybody. But you start watching the pilot and you're like, this feels kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's just different. It's not good or bad. It's just different.
Yeah, the fact
and so
that
I
you
felt that a
mentioned
little
that.
bit for this show too.
Sorry, the fact that you mentioned that, I was thinking about it and I couldn't remember the name of it, but I was like, oh, this kind of feels like that show felt like.
Whoa. I'm sorry. Do I not talk about Dark enough? Because I can talk about it more.
It just kind of feels like that, and like the way like something about it felt like stilted to me, like in like conversations or something. But I think it's because like I don't speak those languages. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And I watched Dark with dubbing, and I think that's part of the reason I didn't like it as much. But
yeah, I can't do it.
this we watched with because I didn't know you could do it with subtitles. I watched it without Bill, and I was like, why is this so weird? So like it does feel like kind of different in a way, but I don't think that doesn't translate to me as like, I can't watch it, it's too weird. It's just like, I gotta get used to it.
Yeah, I don't mean to say that that's a deterrent for me. It's just like something I feel like initially when I'm watching the show, like, okay, this is not going to be like my comfort zone of like watching American television, because it is different. It has a different feel.
And Norwegian's a very interesting language. As I'm learning it, I'm like, I'll be like, like I said, I'm taking the lessons, and I'll be like taking a lesson and I'll type in the wrong answer, and I'll just be like, your language is so fucking weird. Like, I'll talk to my phone because it's a very interesting language.
Yeah.
But I love it, and I really like the show. I don't know if you could tell.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like the differentness.
Yeah.
And the tone's different, kind of. The tone of it all.
Yeah, I mean, with all that said, and like I said, that wasn't like that wasn't a criticism. It's just something that like I feel watching international shows. I thought it was intriguing. I thought the acting was good for the most part. We don't spend a ton of time with anybody except for Magna. I'm just thinking about the naked guy eating fucking
Running. I mean, sometimes I'd like to run naked on a mountain too.
Yeah. I mean, if I
man.
owned a mountain.
I think I'd stay away from the killing a reindeer and eating its heart. But
Yeah.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it. The rich family was like looked just like 80s villains from like a movie.
Yeah.
Like a teen movie.
Yeah, that's interesting. There was something like kind of dated about the style, but it wasn't, but it was present day.
Yeah.
And I guess they just, I mean, I haven't been to Europe in a very long time, but I think I may have felt that when I went to Europe when I went there.
Really?
There's just something like slightly cooler.
I think
You know
they
what I
don't
mean?
care. Like, they don't care.
Yeah.
They're gonna wear what they want to wear. They're
Yeah.
gonna listen to the music they're gonna listen to.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing I remember when I lived in Glasgow that was like, I got so confident in how I dressed because walking down the street in Glasgow, everybody else was so confident in how they dressed and they
Yeah.
didn't care.
Yeah.
And so they just don't care what people think like we do
Yeah.
over here. Like,
And it's just like culturally, it's like culturally, it's somewhat different no matter what, whether it's
Yeah.
like they don't care or we care too much or whatever. Like, it's just different because we live in different
Right.
places. But
Right.
like, I just think it's funny when I went to France when I was younger, and it's like people like knew that my sister and I were American like immediately, and I didn't think we even dressed that weird. To me, we were just wearing like I was like 16 and we wore a lot of khakis then, but like
how could they tell?
but we weren't like, but
I was
think
wearing my cargo
American
khakis and my jellies.
but like American teenagers now dress differently than anyone who was on this show, you know.
A lot of crop tops here.
Yeah,
in
a lot of
America.
crop tops. It was just, an observation. Well, that was one of the things, like when we watch, I don't know if you watch Sex Education.
No, but I want
Janice?
to.
Oh
No,
my
I haven't
gosh,
had a chance yet.
so good. But when
so
that
good.
show first started, I didn't know when it was supposed to be set. Like I didn't, because like you didn't see I don't think there were like cell phones, at least in the pilot, or at least right away.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute because everyone there is dressing like there was just something different about it.
Yeah.
Like the main character's jacket is like this cool retro jacket
Right.
that it easily could have been like on Stranger Things, you know? It was just
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
yeah.
And I was just in Scotland, and I didn't really see anybody dressing like that, I'm going to be honest. I know that that's not where Sex Education takes place, but
Right.
Yeah. Close enough.
There's a Scottish girl in it.
a whole Scottish
A whole Scottish girl.
But who's Scottish in it?
The girl who played Juliet in the play. She goes, "I'm Scottish."
Oh, yes, yes. So, Janice, we know that you have watched this whole season already.
I have.
Elizabeth, do you think that you'll continue to watch Ragnarok?
I think so because I think I'm intrigued enough to keep going.
Okay.
And I'm interested to see which turn it takes because here's the thing. It could go like really like gods and giants and fantasy and like all of that.
Right.
Or it could go like, it could make like a sharp left turn into teen drama.
I think it could ride right down the middle. That's kind of what I'm expecting.
Well, I'm interested to see where it goes.
Well, I will say, at least for
And
the
I'm not upset if it makes a sharp left turn into teen drama.
I know you're not. I thought, because, we were talking about the last two shows we did, and although this might come out like later, so that's neither here nor there, but we watched Lock and Key on Netflix and Oktoberfest on Netflix. Both of which are about like these families coming home to their ancestral home, which also happened in this show. It's also
Yeah.
like, it also has like supernatural fantasy elements, but has a bunch of like teen drama in it, which also happens with this show.
Yeah.
So it's like 3 in a row for us. But the teen drama in those shows was like, I don't know, obnoxious is like the kindest way I can put it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not necessarily my thing unless it's done really well, like in Sex Education. And it wasn't heavy-handed in Ragnarok pilot.
Yeah.
But it didn't bother me at all. I liked the chemistry between Magna and Issa. Like there was like a little bit cheesy when they were like, "There's the rich kids over there," but whatever.
Yeah.
That
But
didn't
I
bother
feel
me
like
too
it was
much.
intentional. That's why it didn't bother me. Because I
Yeah.
felt like it was like an intentional, like, this is the teen moment where they're in
Yeah.
the cafeteria.
Right.
And
Yeah.
So, I'm surprised you're so open to watching the rest of it, because I was questioning it.
I don't know that if I didn't have the endorsement from Janice, if I would like be that interested.
Oh gosh, that's a lot of pressure, y'all.
Yeah, because I was leaning towards like, I think I want to check this show out. And then when I found it was only 6 episodes,
Well, that's the other thing.
we're already down 1. We only have 5
You
more to
only
go.
have 5 more to go.
5 more episodes.
That's like no episodes.
And they're not even full hours.
Exactly.
They're like 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
We can handle it.
You can do it. I
That's
believe
like
in you.
3 hours and 45 minutes left.
We could do it tonight.
And that's all. That's how we have today. We're gonna go watch it. But so obviously, I don't mind if it turns into like a big fantasy thing if it's done well.
Right.
I also don't mind if there's like a little bit of teen stuff if it's done well, which I think it probably will be. So I think I'm intrigued enough to continue checking it out. It's a short
Yeah.
season.
I'm excited to talk to you guys about it then.
Do you have any favorite characters, or do you think by saying who your favorites are, you'll give anything away?
Well, I love Magna.
Yeah.
I mean, I did in the first series, but I also loved... I always have to take a step back and see if my love for a character is because of my love for the actor. And I
Okay.
loved his character on SKAM. I think he's a great actor. I think that in later episodes, like, his acting really shines.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I really love him. I think Loritz is just a hoot, even
Yeah.
though he can be a jerk.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to give too much more away.
Okay.
But I don't know. I really enjoyed it. By the last episode.
To me, I think you gave something away right now by saying that,
what did I give away?
but I don't know.
About Loritz?
To me, no.
Oh.
No, I'll talk off air.
Okay, but no, like the last 5 minutes of the entire series, I literally was standing on my couch like a little girl. It was like 10 o'clock at night, screaming, oh my god, I'm screaming, like I was like freaking out. And that's how I like to watch my television, is I want like the last
Screaming.
10 minutes of an episode to be that I can't sit anymore because my body's vibrating and I need to be like standing on the couch like my mom used to yell at me about. And like,
Watching TV with you might be too intense for me, Janice.
I wouldn't do it in front of other people. I keep that for the privacy of my apartment.
Do you know anything about a second season?
There's no word yet.
Okay.
I follow all of the actors. Don't worry, I follow all of the actors and the series on Instagram, but we haven't gotten word yet.
Well, if you've listened to the show, you know the next segment is, will Ragnarok get a second season? What's your prediction?
Unfortunately, my prediction is no.
Really?
But I'm hopeful for yes. The only reason I'm saying no is because I feel like it's not getting the pickup on the steam that other series do that ensure a second season.
Okay.
I want it to.
Although, Agretsuko got a second season.
Way more people watch that than watch the show.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Maybe to me it seemed as obscure. Like
That
I hadn't
was-
heard about it.
That was clearly so far away from your alley. It was in a different fucking
I
city.
know.
But a lot of people like that show.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes. I just have heard good things from you and from others, just like general internet buzz. I think people like it. I don't know how many people, but from reviews I've seen, people seem to be into it. So, and it's fucking Netflix.
Well, now I'm scared that, like, because you know me, I'm a huge dork, and I'm going to tag the whole cast once this airs. Cast, I love you. I want you to be renewed. If you've listened this long.
If you've made it 40 minutes into the Trial by Pilot
Hey,
podcast.
you never know, because what's her name was our first Instagram.
What's her name? You mean Patricia Heaton?
Excuse me.
America's sweetheart.
You mean
Patricia Heaton?
Raymond's wife?
Oh my gosh.
What's her name? Oh my goodness.
So Janice, now I'm curious. Mm-hmm. And I don't really have an answer. I think maybe it'll get a second season. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I just wanted to answer that question. So what other shows are you like? Give me an example of what else gets you up on the couch, jumping up and down. What else are you into right now?
Oh no. I always say to people that I watch all the like people are like, "Oh, do you watch Game of Thrones? Do you watch like all those like huge shows?" And I'm like, "No, I watch all the like obscure like stupid shows." I'm trying to think now. Like I am into This Is Us.
Oh, okay.
Schitt's Creek, you guys knew that.
Yeah.
Schitt's Creek is great.
What else gets me up? I'm gonna have to like text you later. I'm not gonna be able to think of
All
it.
right, that's fair enough. I put you on the spot a little bit there.
Well, I highly recommend Dark.
Okay, yeah, that's on
Netflix.
my list.
Yeah, so just going back to that topic where we were talking about like how international shows feel different. I kind of like it in a way.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a novel experience almost. Like Dark felt so different than
Like you
anything I'd
feel
watched
like
before.
you're watching something interesting and like a little bit secret. Like no one else knows about
Yeah.
this, even though it's on Netflix.
No, it just,
Well, it
I mean, it
also
sounds
is good for
silly.
your brain. Like, it's good to, like, exercise your brain and to listen to other languages and
Yeah.
to adapt your mind to them a little bit.
Yeah.
I sometimes think I speak other languages now. That's the one pitfall to that. Like, like I'll put on one of my shows in like French and I'll like start, or even this show, I would put it on and like I'd do the good old like check your phone, and then all of a sudden I realize like 5 minutes have gone by and I don't speak Norwegian, so I have no idea what just happened. But it's good for your brain, I think.
yeah. That is a tough part about doing these shows for the podcast, because I take a lot of notes and I have to keep pausing it
Yeah.
because I can't take notes while this is going on because I'll miss all the dialogue.
Yeah.
Off of that, like watching shows in other languages, I highly recommend My Brilliant Friend to you.
I know. That looks so good.
That was a good one. That was
and the
one
second
where
season's coming out soon.
It is.
we watched it and we were just like really into it, and I really thought that like I would try to speak Italian. Like I didn't know.
Well, you think in like a bed.
Yeah, but and I would do it. I said one time to Casey, he was in here. Like I said, I like told him that, and I like said something, and he goes, "Don't do that." Because it was like clearly not the language. Like you don't want to also be insulting, just thinking that like what they're saying is babbling. Like that's not what it is. I
know.
but I love the way it sounds, and I wanted to like sound like that.
And I get really, really angry that the United States educational system doesn't push us harder to learn a second language. Because if you can go on YouTube right now and look up interviews with the Norwegian cast, and they all speak English. The interviews are all in English.
Yeah.
And all of the actors on all of the shows that I watch all speak English too. And
Yeah.
it's just frustrating because I wish I knew a second language so badly.
You know,
Yeah.
I felt like it was at least implied heavily in my high school, like you should take a second language.
Yeah.
And I did. I took Spanish, took 4 years of it. I was in the Spanish Honor Society.
No hablo español.
I don't know what that means.
I said you don't speak
Janice, I know what that means.
I'm gullible.
I at least know what that means. But no, I mean, I don't speak it. I'm not fluent in it. You know, I can pick up words here and there.
Yeah.
But I can't speak it. I can't write it. It's kind of a bummer. Like I wish that I had kept up with it, because
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's part of the problem is like we didn't start learning it until high school, and like what?
right.
You know,
Yeah.
I wish I had to.
All
I
right,
feel like
y'all.
we've gone down a rabbit hole now.
Yeah, that's true.
Do we have any other thoughts on Ragnarok? Also, it's just a badass word.
Yeah.
Right?
Ragnarok. It's just a
Now
badass
that I
word.
know how to pronounce, I kept calling it lots of different things. Rangna something. I kept calling it the wrong thing.
It's also one of the names of the Thor movies, which is where most people probably know the word from now.
Oh,
One of the
is he Thor?
I mean, he throws a hammer really hard and far.
I know.
I mean, so Janice may or may not already know definitively, but like my guess was he is some analog of Thor, like
Okay.
his embodiment or just a metaphor for Thor or something.
Okay. All right.
Or maybe he's literally Thor. I don't know.
Well, what is Thor the god of?
Lightning?
Thunder.
Thunder and lightning.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Okay. Maybe I just answered my own question. All right.
All right. Any other thoughts?
No, not really that important.
All right, cool.
I thought you said nothing.
I was just curious because what is the industry like in? Where's this show from again? Norway. What is like the industry as far as like television?
It's like a national television station. Norwegian. It's kind of like the BBC.
Okay. All right. So they're like making shows then, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not like nothing. I mean, it's probably not like
Yeah.
Hollywood.
No, nothing is.
Like,
No, it's
to that
something it's something
extent,
like
but,
America and how
yeah.
obsessed we are with entertainment. But yeah,
hundreds
no,
and
they
hundreds of channels.
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Just curious.
But I don't know if this was made for Norwegian. I'm sure it's on Norway's Netflix, but I don't think it was for television.
It was made for Netflix.
It was made for Netflix.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, everybody. If you liked what you heard today, go on to Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, subscribe to the show, leave a review. What's so funny?
I just thought you said that funny. And
Yeah,
I know
I tried
you're
to. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Trial by Pilot, and email us at trialbypilot@gmail.com and give us some suggestions on shows to watch.
All right. And Janice, do you have anything to plug?
Oh my word.
Can we follow? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at @_Janice Lynn with an E, and also on Twitter at Janice Lynn _E. No, yeah, there's an E on end of it. I swear I've only had one beer. Just one.
And I think it's like 4% or something.
Yeah, it's really low.
All right, everybody.
Oh,
what
yeah.
else?
And thank you to the Beats for providing our theme music.
Thanks, Beats.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Watching television.